Good morning. Um, so, if we've met before, hello. If we haven't, my name's Andrew. And hello or good morning from Cuenca, Ecuador. I just wanted to create this little missive, and actually, this is I've got classes here starting online. I teach online uh, business English students from around the world, and I do have a decade of full time teaching experience when I lived in Prague and Valencia, Spain. Both times I was promoted to director or assistant director of the schools. I've taught the highest level of Cambridge English. Um, Previous to this, I have been a writer for national marketing firms, and that was really enjoyable unless the topic assigned was not something I was interested in. For example, I drafted approximately 30 pieces for three different plastic surgeons on the East Coast, and I didn't like that. But it really didn't have that much to do with the work. It had to do more with the managing editor when she finally got around to giving me a style guide after about 20 of these pieces, about 25 of these pieces, because she gave me such a nasty letter and we had never met. She didn't even sign her name to it. It was just the marketing director that goes, "Oh, by the way, don't take too much offense, but the editor wanted to give you these notes." Notes? I was never given a style guide. I think I really am on a rant today, so let me rant. Once again, my name's Andrew. I'm currently in Ecuador. I spent almost all of COVID in Colombia and Peru, where I met a woman and lived with her for 9 months in where in Peru. I landed in Lima, met her, and took a 14-hour terror bus ride to Chiclayo. That's where I was. Anyway, oh my God. So then I had to go back to the States to get a passport renewed. So I had a 6 month rented a room in San Antonio, Texas. That's where my storage is. I like San Antonio. I've lived in Austin also, but I'm mostly a West Coast boy. I was born in Alaska, raised in Hawaii. My father had international contracts, so he lived around the world. He was a radio and television engineer, completely self-taught. Eventually, my mother got her doctorate in education, but she was a reading specialist, so I was always a reader, and that led me to writing. So this is a copy of my book, Motor Forward Motion. It's on Amazon. I'm not plugging it to you. I've never promoted this book. It's sort of like a very heavy either doorstop, paperweight, or business calling card. See, that's a photo. Oops. That's a photo of me when I was living in Valencia, Spain. Anyway, so this is four books under one cover, and I'm not. Well, let me explain. So the reason that I've made videos before but didn't show my face was I wasn't comfortable at all. But after teaching online and working with all sorts of Chinese doctors and Brazilian engineers and professionals from around the world, now the camera doesn't bother me. So that was definitely something that I was going for. I wanted to get past that part of being so self-conscious. So for example, here's a black eye that I earned in Costa Rica, but it was two guys fighting me, and I won. So I only got the black eye. They got the shame. Anyway, so what am I doing? I just wanted to take this morning. I just wanted to speak, I guess. Maybe it's because I spend so much time alone. Now, lonely and alone is not the same thing. I'm very, very comfortable being alone in my own thoughts and developing things. That's what writers do, by the way. I mean, so this is pretty self-evident. And I'm very happy to have gotten past that that ego, self-consciousness, holding myself back. I guess the reasons that I'm rambling right now is because this is when I was DJing in Prague, the Czech Republic. So, you know, I want to start scripting these videos. I'm not sure. I just want to organize them better. But the way I feel, or the way I think about it, is that the more I produce, as long as it's of value to you. This is what I built on Mount Shasta in California. I broke ground. I built this with the help of two friends, and I did the solar system. I dug the water lines. I had to pull water from 200 feet down, and we're buried under the snow. I lived there for 3.5 years, and then sold that project. So that's the biggest art project that I've ever sold. I think, well, it's pretty much the only art project I ever sold, but I did well. Anyway, so I guess the idea of talking about scripting videos, or at least clarifying my points, organizing my thoughts, this is what all the things that I teach my students to do, right? I especially coach with job interviews and doctoral programs, master's degree programs. If a Chinese student is trying to get into Yale, I'm coaching them on how to best present themselves. And I might not even be doing a good job of that right now, but it's okay. This is my channel. This is all in development. And at this point, I'm ready to shift from teaching back into the freelancing world. And I've had a sleeping account on Upwork for a long time, but I'm ready to make it live because, I want to work for clients again. And I've grown, I've changed. I treat all of my students as clients. So my soft skills in client-facing situations are much more refined now, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm also multi-certified SEO and web developer. I was in the first graduating class from UC Davis in web development. That was back in 1999. Something like that. So I'm definitely a technophile. I mean, my first computer was a Commodore 64. I bought it with my paper route money when we left Hawaii to live in South Sacramento. South Sac. Anyway, what's up? Anyway, so I know that I have a lot to offer the world, because this has been proven with my interactions with professionals from around the world. It's nice to know that you have value, that you have things and concepts to share with people, and be able to give them solid advice. I've helped a lot of people into positions. As we speak right now, no less than 10 professionals have I coached, and they are all now working in new positions. So it's been effective, and I don't know how many master's PhD candidates have I coached. Maybe 20. So that's been a wonderful experience. However, financially, it's not sustainable, right? And I'm not getting paid anywhere near what I'm worth, and I know this. So I'm moving to Upwork and looking to find a bevy of clients. But I'm also creating my own courses. I have one that's published on Gumroad, and it was the first testing one, and that was on how to move to Mexico. So I've lived all over, not all over Mexico. I've lived in a number of places in Mexico. But the point is that now I'm creating a course on interview tips for interviewees. That's actually a keyword. Search 33,000 times a month in the US. I have that keyword as a .com. The course is almost finished. I'm going to be launching it, and it will be a combination of organic traffic and also paid ads eventually. That's also why I need to build up some capital to serve the things that I've already created. I have my own personal website. That's the namesake of this channel. But I've also built a green energy, international travel, living sort of website. It has 260 odd pages, but it needs a lot of help. That content is a mix of AI. It's a mix of paid, work that I paid people to write and some of my own writing. That needs a lot of help and optimization, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So, these number of projects, and then I also want to write for Substack. I really, something like the book that I just showed you, which is actually a very, very personal book. I was pretty much raised by a single mother. My father didn't talk to me for about 22 years of my life until I moved to Europe, and he knew he was dying, but he didn't tell me that he was dying. So he flew from Hawaii to Prague at least 4 times. He came to visit. And anyway, so I've had to figure a lot of things out for myself, and over the years I've learned to trust my instincts, and I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for my students, because now I have a much better understanding of how international English works, especially in the business world. I've worked with CEOs, doctors, engineers, like I've told you. And it's really interesting when you have a Japanese CEO working with Indian contractors, right? That's an interesting, because English is in the middle, and that's an interesting dynamic. We have cultural influences, but also some idiomatic and pronunciation issues, and so that's fun. I enjoy that. But now it's time to move back into content creation and optimization. That's what I really love. I really love writing a good piece and having it optimized. I really love on-page SEO and technical SEO. I've worked for 3 national marketing firms, 2 of them as a contractor, as a freelancer, and then 1 as a 9-month position as a full-time employee. And at that point, I was able to work on enterprise legal sites from New York City, for example, optimizing pages that were already ranking 1, but had fallen in the ranks a little bit. So because I've worked for lawyers before, and I have 20 years in real estate, so I know legalese, and I know how to, bump up a page, let's say, or if we're going to use a screenwriting term, punch up. So that all brings me all the way back around to thinking about how I want this channel to develop, and it's kind of funny because it's going to change anyway. And I need to keep some things a little loose and a little bit artistic, because if I put myself in too tight of a box, I'm going to get frustrated and blow the box apart. I like to work within parameters. I like to have guidelines. At the same time, if this is to truly reflect who I am, which I'm not sure that I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, other than I just enjoy creating, and I'm very happy that I'm past the phase of being uncomfortable on camera. And I was also operating under the theory that if I can help one student within a half an hour, and I leverage the internet and I leverage video, and I'm already on video anyway, why couldn't I help 1,000 students with the same content? Why couldn't I help 10,000 students with the same content? especially when it comes to job interviews, and that's really the core of why I've created the course that I have. And it's not live yet. It'll be live in the middle of July. Um, but I'm creating some lead generation, so there'll be some freebies that I'll be sharing with you on this channel. I really like helping people, and I've been through some really incredibly difficult things in my life. And so being able to give some people perspective from the other side, I think will be of greater value. So even if I, am using TubeBuddy to find some, keywords about the and titles and things that to create here on YouTube, sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes, for me at least, I just want to speak. I want to get these things off of my chest, and by doing that, maybe I can help somebody else get quote unquote clear. I'm not referencing Scientology. So hopefully, I don't know, this was of some value to you. Not, I think also it's sort of like when I was in Berlin with my father on one of the visits, and I was taking photos of everything. I was being a bit of a shutterbug, and he goes, Andy, because he called me Andy, but my name is very definitely Andrew. He called me, Andy, sometimes you can just enjoy the moment and you don't have to take photos of everything. So I think that's kind of what this video is right here. It's nothing for me to optimize. I'm just trying to share a glimpse of where I'm at and what I want to do and the bigger vision that I have to help people, because I know I can, because I have. And to bring it all the way back around to the scripting, yeah, for a long time I studied screenwriting. I'm definitely a cinephile. So even in my book, I have a 2 correct form screenplay, a full screenplay. And that was really a pleasure writing. And so I know I can do it, but how do I do that? I can't be too scripted. That's ridiculous. I just got to do this my way, right? There's definitely formulas and workflows, and this is what it is. It's a balance between having platforms that you optimize and having things that you just do for yourself to help other people. I'm not going to script everything. It's ridiculous. Some people are really good at that. I mean, I don't even consider anything that I'm doing right now as competition. I don't have any competition. You cannot compare yourself to my life. And this is definitely not bragging, but I don't know anybody that has done as many things as I have around the world. And that's whether building off-grid at 6,000 feet on Mount Shasta or constructing a biodiesel company in Costa Rica and selling that project. But I've got to take everything that I do and digitize everything. And by doing that, I can be anywhere in the world. And this is what I want to share with you. So it's nice to have a feeling that I'm on the other side of 10 years of sheer terror. And that started with me marrying, and then losing our baby girl, and then me having to divorce a wife and having all of my finances completely wrecked, and the 10 years of recovery and struggle and trying to figure out how to get my life back and get my legs underneath me. I wouldn't want to wish that on anyone. At the same time, both of my parents are dead. I have no family. So when I'm bouncing from country to country, there is nobody to save me. I have a few very close friends, and I don't even think they know how much I absolutely appreciate them. I should tell them more. But I very much keep my own counsel. It wouldn't seem that way by me making this video, but I very much keep my own counsel. And the reason for doing this is so by speaking to other people about what I'm doing, it dispels the energy, and your brain actually thinks that you've already accomplished it. So, especially when I get to these particular points that I'm at right now, I know that I'm at the point where the gates are going to be thrown open, and I'm going to be able to create and enjoy everything that I've ever imagined. How much this channel has to do with that, I don't know. But at the same time, I can produce a video like this, be honest with you, and hopefully inspire some people that this is a very small world. And I've lived in 15 countries. I don't even know how many I've visited. And when I say lived in, to qualify, I have to live there for at least 3 months for it to be a country that I've lived in. And the reason that I do that is to absorb as much culture as possible. And I'm very thankful for the time and the space, especially in Mexico and South America, where I don't have the financial pressures that I would in the States. And I have more time to discover the better aspects of myself and figure out my program. My program's clear. I mean, I've graphed out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. You know, I've got the short term, midterm, and I've got the long term. And it's getting exciting. And thankfully, it's finally enjoyable. So, you know, as they say, get over yourself. Well, yeah, but that's a process. So some things you can rush in life and some things you can't. Some things you just got to put one foot in front of the other until you get out of your own way. I mean, these cliches, right? But life can be a swamp, you know. It is incredibly cyclical, and if we're doing these cycles, I'm ready to be on top again. So, thank you for your time, interest. Hopefully this was of some value to you, and love humanity. It's the best way to move forward. Align your head with your heart. It's absolutely the best way to move forward, right? Because you never have to second guess yourself, right? And understand that change is the one constant. And on top of that, we can expect an increase in the rate of change. That's from one of my heroes, Alvin Toffler. If you haven't read Future Shock, written the year I was born, 1971, that's great. I'd also follow that with The Third Wave and War, Anti-War. These are good books. Alvin Toffler is a fantastic futurist, and he finally gave editing credit to his wife Heidi. Anyway, off topic. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, have a fantastic day, and I wish you the absolute best life has to offer. Ciao.